sorry, she had her hand for a while.
Go ahead, sorry.
Okay. So let's say that you think you did a sin, but you're not really sure if you did it. Should you still confess it anyways?
How do you mean?
Like, let's say...
Well, you don't have to
Give a specific
give
example.
it an example, but
Yeah.
I don't quite understand. So if you're not sure whether...
No, like, you're not sure whether you've done the sin, but you say it anyways, even though you're not sure if you did it.
Like I might have lied, but I'm not sure if I have or something like
Yeah.
that.
Well,
Just to make sure.
It's good to, in cases of doubt, sometimes there are
It's better to be on the safe
are
side.
like what wasps, they don't give you any peace. And when you're not at peace with something, just get it off your chest. And very often things get clarified in some fashion. Rather than, and in general, for our own health and well-being, rather than living with constant doubt and judging. Why judge ourselves when we can lay it open in front of the judge, who is Christ, and know that you are a much harsher judge on yourself than Christ is, because we typically accuse ourselves too much or are forgiving too much. We're never quite there, but Christ is the one who sees all the facets and knows the heart of man. And so if you want a fair judgment, then go to Christ. If you want an unfair judgment that's going to rob you of your peace, then don't, and keep it to yourself, and you're going to make your life miserable, because we are our own worst enemies. I think I mentioned this, before the fact or the whatever the problem is, you find any excuse possible. So you're the best advocate of yourself. Afterwards, you're the harshest judge, and you condemn yourself to hell if necessary. And Christ is not like that at all.
With respect to kanone, if one priest gives
to
kanon.
Do you know what?
I don't know how to translate
Does everybody know what this is about?
Advice.
So
from
when
the
the priest gives you a penitence,
Yes,
me or
yes.
canon, something.
Okay, so if one priest gives you that, and then you switch priests again, if you start confessing to a different priest, do you have to keep the same one, or can the other one give you a different one?
Well, when you switch to somebody else, then you tell this is what I've been doing. I mean, typically a priest would ask you, so how's your life? How do you pray? How do you do things? Do you have a rule of prayer? You don't, maybe you do. Do you have a rule of fasting? What you do exactly? And keeps the same or changes it according to the circumstances. And these obediences or I don't know how penitences, whatever they are very, very varied. I mean, they can be of all kinds of things. But what they are essentially is a help, a crutch, to help you like a plaster on your foot. When your foot is still tender, you can't really walk very well, so you need to plaster it up for a while until the foot heals. So you practice certain things that would help you overcome a certain difficulty, a certain weakness, a certain whatever it is. But they're not an end in itself, so they are bound to change or become, according to the circumstances. They're all kinds of things. They're not penalties you pay. So you've done whatever, you've done something, so now I'm punishing you with 1,000 lashes. That's not the point. It's rather an aid to overcome that, like a pill, some kind of medicine. It's something helpful. But after the illness starts to subside, you take less of it, or you take a different one, and typically some other disease erupts, so you get another thing for another problem.
I always wondered, if a murderer comes and confesses that I killed somebody to you, does the priest has to keep it for himself, or does he have to tell the authorities?
Yeah, well, this is a very, very tricky thing.
We were talking about that in the guys' cabin last night.
about this confession in general and
Interesting. About murder and stuff.
a
Yes.
case. I don't remember. Hmm?
What?
That's stumping the priest.
Yeah. We were gonna ask it at Stump the Priest, but
Oh, thank you.
because I heard a case of I forget. I'm pretty sure it was a Catholic confession. So someone went to the priest to either confess or not or whatever, and the police went to the priest and forced him to tell, but he never told. And I think in the end the priest went to jail, or
Right.
I don't remember.
Well,
what happened, so.
The rule is that whatever is said in confession is confessed to Christ. And the priest is only a witness. I really like to remind you of this. And so you're not supposed to repeat things told to somebody else, right? If I'm only a witness, it dies here. I've heard it, and it is sealed. And it is one of the gravest sins that a priest can commit. I don't know who would actually do this, but once entrusted with a secret, use that secret to bully, humiliate, manipulate. You should not use it at all, and it's best forgotten. And in most cases, it is half forgotten or forgotten. So you're supposed to keep that secret and guard it with your life if necessary. But on the other hand, when it's about things that obviously affect in a direct manner others, such as the one you're talking about, the obvious thing that you need to do is to tell him to turn himself in. Now, not every murder is like every other murder. Things are infinitely nuanced, and as Orthodox, we don't like to make hard and fast rules that apply to every case. We much rather deal with every individual case, and that's why we are different from the Catholics. And the Catholics like to legislate everything. Everything has a rule. There's rules and categories for everything, and we are much more interested in the one-on-one personal relationship. So I don't know how to respond in a way. I guess I'm stumped. In other words. But basically, you keep the secret, but you try to make things come out. However, you cannot go and tell just like that.
Someone just crossed my mind. If someone goes to confession and says he maybe wants to kill the priest, what does the priest do? Does he?
Does he ask, will it be me?
Yeah. Does he tell the authorities to save himself, or does he just accept it?
Oh, the guy confessed that he's going to kill him?
Yeah, the priest.
Actually, this is a funny story from the 16th century. A funny story from the 16th. They had a sense of humor. Yeah, about it's precisely about going to confession. I think Rabelais has this. If I'm not mistaken, it's not about killing but stealing, So the guy goes and steals while he's confessing. He steals the money and says, "Father, I have sinned. You're forgiven." Good. He goes. He's got the money and the forgiveness. But this is how should I put it? It's a mechanistic and magical way of looking. Confession is not magic, and the church is not a place for witchcraft and wizardry, like Hogwarts. The church is something more intimate and mysterious. So you can play by all the rules and get it completely wrong. You can theoretically keep the fast and at the same time break all the rules of the fast. I mean, it's enough to keep the fast strictly and be arrogant. And this is done with your fast. It's enough to not keep the fast and humble yourself at some point, and then you re-enter the fast. And things are very fluid, because God is not a set of rules, and God is not a bureaucrat. Thank God. If He were, we'd be in big trouble. So things are not quite like this. So you come, you confess, you rattle off your list of things, and they're all erased, and so now it doesn't count. It's not about what counts and what works, because it's not a grace dispensing machinery that we're talking about. Essentially, the church is a family, and with family relationships that cannot be regulated like the relations between objects or between, some kind of official relations. They're more intimate and harder to pin down, harder to describe. I don't know if it's not very satisfying.